Hey guys, it's your boy MKS. Finally back at you with part 3 of my ideas about trying to help Africans to get into tech game making, like PC video game making, that sort of thing. For once I haven't got tea, but unfortunately I've got something even more naughty or even worse. I apologize. I got Pepsi. At least it's Pepsi Max, so it doesn't have sugar. But anywho, still got bad stuff in it. But what do they say? You only live once, so or twice. Or whatever. Anyway, I got a bit of feedback from when I made the video, which part 1, I think it was from, I think, if I get his name right, Kish. He gave me a bit of a lengthy message, but I read it all. But yeah, I'm going to try and reply to him a bit later. So yeah, he did give me some feedback saying I need to go in more detail about each point. And some of the things I said he didn't quite agree with, or didn't really think were that great, were as good ideas as I hope. But yeah, so I'll try and take his feedback on board. I don't know if I entirely agree, and I suppose everyone's got different opinions, but it is great. I am grateful that he did send me that feedback, because it would help me. It does help me, or it did help me, and it does help me to think. Anyway, I'll try not to waffle, but anywho, I thought I'd eventually, because I did plan to do it yesterday, I think it was, but I didn't quite get around to it. So I was out for a bit of time, so I didn't manage. I don't know if I made any videos yesterday. Thought I'd do something a bit different. I think I made 1 or 2, but anyway. Oh yeah, there's one about wanting to have sugar mummies. That was one. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to try and crack on with the list and hope you enjoy it. And so here goes. Yeah, so I think I'm going to stop waffling and get on with my plans. So as ever, please let me know what your thoughts are and what bits you don't like and which bits you do like, if any, and whether you agree with me or disagree with me, or what ideas you can add as well, which would be great if you could add any ideas, like your own list or your own just general ideas, or whatever suggestions. It would be really good. But if we can develop a network, as I said in part 1, of people who want to support African game makers, tech game makers, I think it'd be really good if we come together. So anyway, here goes. So number 21. Once again, I'd love to support African people to get into game making from the continent of Africa, and provide mentors, teachers, trainers, and that sort of thing. My gain would just be that I would be happy to help them, so it would make me feel good, but I don't actually want any monetary gain. Personally, I don't have any experience of game making myself, to be honest, or even tech, really. I can type quite fast, but that's about it. I'm not very good at coding or programming on it. I don't have a clue about those sorts of things, but I do want to encourage people who are good at those things, whether they're African themselves or Black, British, African American, or whatever. As it's Black History Month, as I call it, Black History and Empowerment Month. For those who have seen my other videos, apologies for repeating myself, but like Black British people who are good at game making, or even people of colour generally, or even people from other countries as well, people of colour, or just generally anyone who wants to see Africa do well, going to teach people from Africa, especially young girls. When I sent him the message, as I said before, I won't say his full name just in case he doesn't want me. He did say thanks for the shout out, but I don't want to say his full name unless he gives me permission. Then I'll say his full name or what is organised. If he wants me to give a shout out for his organisation, I will do so. But obviously, without his permission, I don't want to do that. Just in case, obviously, in case he doesn't want me to. But he did. His feedback included that, I think it was something like, if I read it right, to focus on those who are already good at technology. But what I want to do is encourage more people, especially girls and especially young people, in particular girls, but also boys, who are not necessarily confident in technology at the moment or in game making, to actually get that support. So people who are good at it can teach those people and train them, hopefully in the safest possible way, and obviously the most beneficial to them. So as ever, I'd love to hear what you think about that. Like, people who are not that good at game making now could be taught, and especially young people, and maybe even make it into a game where they play games, but they also learn how. So it's fun for them, but they're also learning for the future. Number 22, again, in the future, I'd love to help more African girls, especially, and boys, but especially girls, or as many people from Africa as possible, really, to get into, excuse me, to get into game making. Again, those who probably don't have the confidence or skills to be empowered to do so, like things like Black Girls Code, which is in America by Kimberly Bryant. I'm sure she won't mind me saying her name. Things like that to be expanded into Africa. I know they already kind of are a little bit, but in this case, I want it to be specifically for game making. And again, like with trade deals that African countries or Africa generally does with other countries. I said before, like Japan with TICAD, where they can ask Japan to help them with game making in return for trade deals. Again, I'd love to hear what you think about that. And again, what Kish said to me in the comments was that I remember was classing Africa as one sort of block, or seeing Africa as the same, whereas obviously it's different countries. But I did mention that there is 54 different countries. I didn't say Africa was a country, but I'm just saying that if they work together as one, not necessarily as a country, and they can still have their own different cultural games. Like there are already people who make games in Africa, like Cameroon and places like that, where they probably have their own local things, but they could perhaps expand to other countries and sort of learn from each other, network. And again, those who are already good at that sort of stuff, tech game making, could help, and they could teach each other about each other's cultures, like Cameroonians learning about Kenya and Nigeria and South Africa and other places, and vice versa. So they could also travel to each other's countries. So that's my opinion. I do want to take all other people's opinions on board, but obviously it doesn't mean I'm just going to necessarily go with what they say. Maybe have it up for debate, but I hope people will appreciate it. I might not follow all bits of advice, because obviously I'm sure different people will say different things as well. Like some will agree with me and some won't, but yeah, so that's my thought anyway. So as ever, I'd love to hear what you think. Number 23, I think it'd be good to find out all possible ways we could fundraise. Like people could donate a certain percentage of their YouTube profits, or make specific videos like this themselves, which are probably a lot better than mine, where they also talk about African game makers and their own ideas, and then any money they make, or a certain percentage of what they make if they want, obviously by their own choice, of their own free will, could go towards African game makers and supporting them. Number 24, again, I think it'd be great if African countries cross-cooperated, possibly learn about each other's cultures, and like put those in some of the games, maybe, where people around the world could learn about those games. But I think if they're going to transport or sell their games, to put it simply, in other countries and continents outside of the African continent as well, I think it would be good if they even had things, if they're going to make educational games like about geography or flags or things like that. I think it would be good if they also learn about countries within Africa and also outside of Africa. But I hope as many people will buy those games, of course, and support them as possible around the world. Number 25, I think it'd be great if all the different organizations which support Africa and who want to see Africa do well, and Friends of Africa, all came together and made one sort of place where whoever wants to learn about game making in Africa and get empowered can go to that place and sort of ask for advice and guidance and teaching and training and that sort of thing, and maybe make things online which are accessible for African game developers and game makers, developers and whatnot. And I think it'd be great also, part of this, to make, like, in general technology, to make faster internet access, so that people from Africa can use the internet and learn more things online more quickly. So the fastest possible internet in Africa, I think, would help them with learning and business and growing, developing, and that sort of thing. Number 26, again, I hope for people all around the world to support African game makers, and again, as many people from Africa as possible to learn about game making. And hopefully, again, this will be a way for them to sell their games and become financially empowered, and that sort of thing. Number 27, yeah, if as many people as possible support it, especially people like Black British, African American, people from Europe, people of color generally, but especially Black people, or mixed race people like myself, especially those who are part Black, could hopefully be encouraged to support African game makers. And also there could be like a list of the top people who support the African game makers, so they could be mentioned on a lot of the games themselves or on the websites, how they've contributed, so where they've contributed financially. So different companies and organizations, like big tech companies who make games themselves, could look to how to train people from Africa to make those games and earn a living from making those games and that sort of thing. I think that would be quite a good and exciting idea, in my opinion. Number 28, hopefully this will again help to transform some of the problems Africa is facing and help them to become more empowered and independent, and just generally be in a better situation. So hopefully it would help them as much as possible. Number 29, I especially hope to encourage, as I said before, like people of color, especially mixed race people maybe, and Black people around the world, to support African game makers, especially those with the skills, talents, and abilities to help them. And number 30, as ever, I'd love to hear from your ideas. I'm sorry if this video is a bit long, and I think that covers everything for now. So please add any ideas you can think of, and I'm out. Peace and love.